Transitional words. Use of transitional words. What are transitional words? Transitions are phrases or words used to connect one idea to the next. For example, also, moreover, in addition to, etc. When do you use transitional words? Transitions are used by the author to help the reader progress from one significant idea to the next. Transitions also show the relationship within a paragraph or within a sentence between the main idea and the support the author gives for those ideas. Different transitions do different things. Examples of transitional words. What words can I use to add ideas? And, in addition, moreover, besides, above all, further, furthermore, not only but also, what's more, in the same way, and then, equally important. How can I express an alternative? To express an alternative, some transitional words are alternatively, on the other hand, rather. To show cause and effect, because, since as, therefore, consequently, as a result, for this reason, subsequently, accordingly, as long as. Can you think of a sentence using one of these examples? What words can I use to compare and contrast ideas? To compare. Likewise, similarly, in comparison, by comparison, correspondingly, in the same way, compared to, as with. To contrast, but, however, whereas, conversely, in contrast, unlike, on the contrary, on the other hand, yet, in contrast, although this may be true, nevertheless, alternately. To show consequence. Consequently, so, accordingly, as a result for this reason, hence, thus, owing to this, that, due to this, that, because of this, that, therefore, with this in mind, under the circumstances. Do any of these transitional words sound familiar? To conclude. In conclusion, to conclude. Finally, in brief. Therefore, otherwise, on the whole. In summing up, to conclude, as has been shown, as state, hence, therefore, accordingly, thus, as a result, consequently. How do I plan to use some of these? What are some transitional words used to explain? That is to say, in other words, namely, this means, to put it in another way, to put it simply. Brainstorm some transitional words that can be used to emphasize. To emphasize. Mainly, especially, notably, in particular, particularly, clearly then, definitely, extremely, obviously, in fact, indeed, in any case, absolutely, positively, naturally, surprisingly, always, forever, eternally, never, emphatically, unquestionably, without a doubt, certainly, undeniably, without reservation, significantly, more importantly. To give an example, for example, that is, such as, for instance, thus, as follows, the following, in another case, on this occasion, in this situation, take the case of, to demonstrate, to illustrate, as an illustration, as revealed by. The words that I have used previously are. The ones I will try to use more often are. To show exception, some transitional words. Yet, still, however, nevertheless, in spite of, despite, of course, once in a while, sometimes even though. To generalize. Generally, in general, on the whole, in most cases, normally, as a rule, usually, for the most part. Generally, I like to generalize my ideas when proving a point. How do you prove a point? To prove. Some examples: because, for, since, for the same reason, obviously, evidently, furthermore, moreover, besides, indeed, in fact, in addition, in any case, that is. The toughest part of writing is the starting point. How do I begin? To start a new point, with regard to, with reference to, turning to, as for, as far as is concerned. To show sequence. First, firstly, second, secondly, so on. At first, next, then, following this, at this time, now, at this point, after, afterward, subsequently, finally, consequently, previously, before this, simultaneously, concurrently, at the same time, hence, next and then, soon, eventually, in the end, lastly, finally, as a result, subsequently. I can now sequence my ideas with useful words. Finally, we're coming to the end of our lesson on transitional words. To show time. Immediately, thereafter, soon, after a few hours, finally, then, later, previously, formerly, next, and then, a while later, afterwards. Start writing. In future writing assignments, use the transitional words.